Well, it looks like we're live. Let's just wait a little bit to see if any people actually show up. Trying something new today. Going live randomly. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if people actually show up because it'll be recorded and uploaded later on. Go ahead and start in maybe 2 minutes. All right, so lots of news today. We saw on Twitter, I think it was on Min's account. Yeah, we saw on Min's account that ICX staking is now available on Bithumb official. He'd like to thank the Bithumb team for continuing to support the Icon project. ICX staking rewards are now even more accessible to our fast-growing community. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if you guys know about Bithumb. It probably still is, the top Korean exchange in South Korea. I think back in 2017, 2018. There was even one point where I think Bithumb was responsible for most of the trading volume in the world, which was pretty crazy. I remember going to South Korea. I think it was back in 2017. It was during, I think it was like either the end or sometime in the middle of the bull market. Not sure exactly what month it was, or not sure what year it was, but it was during that previous bull market, and just everyone was trading there. You know, I was going to my Airbnb from the airport, and yeah, I was just like on the train, and everyone was on their phone. I was looking at some of their phone screens because I heard about this. You know, I heard that everyone was on the train trading in South Korea, so I was kind of curious. So I was looking around, and you know, there were grandma and grandpas just trading on the train. Now, I'm not sure if they knew what they were doing. If I had to make a guess, I'd say probably they didn't know what they were doing, and maybe that's why the market ended up the way that it was. You know, it was kind of that blow off top, and there was really no value to a lot of the coins that were being traded. You know, I'm not going to say Icon had no value, but compared to now, when you compare back then, you know, back in 2017, early 2018, it was really just a white paper. You know, almost nothing had been built yet. Though I think Icon Loop did exist, but beyond Icon, there were certainly a lot of projects that had no white paper and also were just outright scams. And you know, a lot of those tokens made it onto exchanges. You know, I'm sure exchanges were getting caught in the FOMO as well. They didn't want to miss out. So that's what happened. You know, you had a lot of tokens that were backed by nothing concrete. So many people were trading, especially in South Korea on Bithumb, on Upbit. I don't know if Upbit was back here, was online back then. You also had Coin One. You had all these Korean exchanges that people were just putting all of their money in. But anyway, yeah. So ICX staking is now available on Bithumb, and it's pretty interesting because they're actually doing an airdrop for this token called SRT, which I was doing some research. I couldn't find a lot of information about it. Actually, I was trying to look around on Bithumb's website, and I couldn't really find the SRT token. So there's not really a lot of information about this token. Looks like sort of a new project. Maybe this is Bithumb's way of, doing a promotion for this project. I don't know if there's any cooperation with Icon, but it does seem like that they are going to be airdropping this SRT token to people who stake ICX on the Bithumb platform. So just looking a bit more into this SRT token, it seems to be for this project called SeerealBox. But they actually spell it SeerealBox. Not sure if that's kind of a play on words, and I think it'll make more sense when we actually find out what this project is about. So apparently it's a online advertising platform. I was able to find their website. It actually looks kind of like Instagram in a way. And this website was originally in Korean, so I did the Google Translate. And so some of these translations might be a bit off, Google Translate doesn't always catch those correct translations. But what I can see, it seems to be a project that is trying to make the world more real by incentivizing people to like and share honest and natural content. I'm sure if you're on Instagram, you know that it's kind of a lot of the stuff you see on there is like fake. Not fake in the sense that it didn't happen, but fake in the sense that people only really show the best part of their lives. And the way the social network was designed kind of incentivizes that, because people go on Instagram to sort of forget about their lives. Instead they might want to look at someone else and be like, oh, look where this cool person is. Look at all the nice food that they can eat. And stuff along those lines. It's very rare to see that, to see people share, their real day-to-day life on a platform like Instagram. So maybe this is kind of battling against that. I'm not sure. It says SeerealBox is a social networking service that can show more honest and more natural content, even if it's a little less flashy and a little less cool, by limiting the ability to correct and edit photos or videos. So it's kind of like, maybe it's what Instagram used to be. What Instagram used to be when it was first made. You could certainly put a filter on your photos, but the way that people used it back then, it was a lot less fake, because there was actually no way to upload a picture that you took from a different camera. And back then, on the early iPhones, on the early smartphones, the cameras weren't that great. So, you took a picture and you might slap a filter on it, but the picture still had this like real life vibe. Where if you look today on Instagram and all of these similar networks, all of the stuff you see on there is sort of taken from a different camera. People, schedule their posts. It's kind of gotten away from the core value of Instagram when it was first founded. I'm not sure if that's right or wrong, but it seems like this SeerealBox thing is trying to go back to having people share real aspects of their life. And there's also different parts to it: review, shopping, advertising. Again, I'm not sure these translations are really getting the point across. But yeah, check out this. Like, think of the Serial app as a film camera. The Serial app camera is an uncorrected camera. We're kind of in the age of filters now. Everything has filters. Probably LinkedIn even has filters. I'm not sure, but certainly Facebook, Instagram, the iPhone camera app also has some filters. So we are living in a filter society nowadays. And this Serial app here, along with some other apps, you know what? Like this has been sort of a trend lately. I'm sort of ranting, but if you think about it, these recent social networks that came out. So you have stuff like Clubhouse, you have stuff like Dispo. It's trying to go back to a simpler time, I think, where people were not armed with the tools to make the best version of their lives the only thing that we can see on the internet. So, on Clubhouse, people are kind of, the way that people use Clubhouse is they're very willing to share, the real aspects of their life, the difficulties that they face, the problems that they have to contend with. And I feel like on my limited exposure to Clubhouse, a lot of people on there were a lot more open, and kind of willing to show their vulnerable side. And that's pretty cool. And this new Dispo app as well, I think, is sort of what Instagram 1.0 was. The idea is your phone is a disposable camera. There's no way to make your photos look good afterward. So this seems like that kind of thing as well, this Serial thing. And here, you can only upload photos taken in Serial. So it seems like this app might be still in the works. There's a team here. There's some advisors, partners. Maybe these people look like influencers. You like this is kind of stupid. If I was doing the marketing for this app, I would get real photos of these people, right? Not like this stuff. These filter stuff. They're posing, but that's not what the point of this app is about, right? Anyway, still pretty cool. I guess the SRT token is a token that will incentivize people to be real. Funny how that nowadays we have to pay people for them to sort of show us who they really are behind the Instagram facade. So back to Icon. People who stake ICX on Bithumb will receive this SRT token. And yeah, I guess I'm glad that Bithumb is offering staking as well. I'm not sure what is going on with like how exactly they're going to vote, because last time I checked, Bithumb doesn't have a node on the Icon network. So I wonder if they're doing the node operation through some other name or some other company, or they're going to spread votes across the teams. I don't know. I sort of hope they don't pull another Binance and, start up a node and just stake all to themselves, because that is actually diverting a lot of capital that can be used to grow the Icon network just back into the holdings of the exchange, right? So depending on how that exchange chooses to use those funds, of course, is up to the exchange. I think that the rewards that Binance receives for being the number 2 PREP might not necessarily go back into developing and growing the Icon project. So that's a lot of capital leaving the ecosystem potentially. So I just hope other exchanges don't do that. Even though we are moving into the CPS system, which, by the way, the smart contract for the CPS has been deployed as of today. So I would expect to see the CPS go live maybe later this week or perhaps early next week. Even though the funding mechanism is going to the CPS model, the P-reps still will receive the rewards, and depending on the price of ICX, that can still be a lot of capital that can be used efficiently to grow the icon project. So if we see more exchanges starting to start up their own nodes, that could potentially leave a lot of capital, just out of the icon ecosystem, which is not the best thing that could happen if we're looking at the long-term growth of icon. So beyond Bithumb, beyond SeerealBox, I'll just talk about the Rosetta integration, and then I see there are a few questions here, so I'll get to those, and then I'll hop off. I don't have much time today, but I just wanted to do a quick live stream. So we have this icon development roadmap back from January, and it was talking about the Rosetta implementation. For those who don't know, Rosetta is a middleware API that is required, that is apparently required for coins to be listed on Coinbase. So Coinbase was the founder or the creator of the Rosetta spec. And the idea behind it is to have a common syntax that you can use to interact with a bunch of different blockchain networks. So why would you want that, right? Well, I think it totally makes sense if you're an exchange trying to scale up, because if you think about it, if you have to maintain kind of the documentation, you have to maintain the staff in for every single blockchain, it can kind of be very inefficient, right? So if you had one language or one API that you can use to talk to all the blockchains, then that's a really good thing in terms of efficiency, in terms of making sure the listed assets are working the way that they should be. So this is what Rosetta is. It's basically Coinbase, instead of talking to the icon nodes directly. And what I mean by talking is, like, for example, if they had to get the number of the latest block, so the latest block height, the way to do that on icon versus another chain is different. So to maintain all of that documentation, to make sure it's all updated, might be kind of an internal issue. So now with Rosetta, Coinbase is actually just talking to Rosetta. Rosetta is talking to the icon blockchain. And if they were trying to do the same thing with Ethereum, Coinbase would talk to Rosetta. Rosetta would then talk to Ethereum. And the idea behind that is that the team behind the listed asset, in this case the icon team, they would be in charge of maintaining the Rosetta implementation, so that kind of removes a lot of work off of Coinbase, which I guess is like what they want from their side, right? So it helps them list all of these assets better, with more efficiency. And the exciting thing now is the icon Rosetta implementation has finally been finished, and I believe that in order for it to go live, we were waiting for an icon mainnet update, which is the proposal 12, which is currently in voting. So if you're a PREP, if you're voting for a PREP and they haven't voted for this proposal 12 yet, be sure to tell them about it. I think the vote is going to be open for the next few hours. So after that vote goes through, I think the mainnet will have the specific APIs in order for the Rosetta implementation to go live. And it's not saying that Coinbase is going, to list icon right after this is done, but this implementation is something that has to be in place first before Coinbase can even think about listing. So maybe the timing is a coincidence. Why is Icon suddenly uh so set on doing this now? Maybe they know something. Who knows, right? But the great thing is that with the Rosetta implementation in place, Coinbase will be able to list the ICX token. And if you're technical or you want to check out the Rosetta API itself, this is the link here. It's on Icon's GitHub. You can see that there were updates very recently. And yeah, it's all here. I think it's probably ready to use soon, and will be interesting to see what happens with it. All right, so let's just go over a few questions here, and then I'll go ahead and end the stream. Whitefly00 says, can you stake with only 10 ICX? Yeah, the minimum amount of ICX that you need to stake is actually just 1. So if you only have 10, you can go ahead and stake the 10 ICX. Southpaw says, when will marketing be pushed out? So I don't know what you mean by marketing, and I don't say that in a sarcastic way, right? Because there's different kinds of marketing, like marketing to investors, marketing to developers. It really depends who you're marketing to, right? But if we're talking about the investor side of things, I do think that Icon has been doing well on that front lately. I think especially the last 3 weeks or so, you've really seen the Icon Foundation Twitter account, Min's account, Min, Ricky, Scott. They've been, for lack of a better term, playing the crypto game. The memes have been all over the place. There's been announcements of announcements of announcements, and I don't think that's a bad thing. That's just like the crypto lifestyle in its current stage, and maybe someday it'll grow up or whatever. But now, now we just have Doge. We have Doge memes everywhere. We have memes everywhere, and it's pretty cool. So it looks like that Icon is starting to do more of that stuff, and it sort of hints to me that there might be some big stuff coming soon, right? Because I don't think that Min and Ricky and the Icon team would partake in this kind of behavior if there was not something that's going to come soon, right? Because they didn't do this kind of stuff for years. I think the ICO ended late 2017, or was it 2018? I forget. But it's been 2 or 3 years. They've never done this kind of stuff. Why are they doing this kind of stuff all of a sudden? It's not, I don't think it's because of pressure. Certainly the community has been pressuring them to do this kind of stuff for years. They never caved in. So I think there's got to be a reason why they're starting this kind of stuff now. All of the memes, all of the tweets that are suggesting things are coming soon, the airdrips and all this stuff. It's all happening now, which tells me that something big is coming soon for Icon in a way that we have never seen since the beginning of the project, just based on my observations of the behavior that we've seen on Twitter, on these other platforms the past few weeks. So that's kind of my thoughts on marketing. I think the kind of marketing that Min is engaging in right now is actually very appealing to the general crypto sentiment kind of lifestyle thing. And at the same time, I do hope to see more marketing towards developers. I do know that Icon is in the process. Last time I heard, they were very close to finding kind of a lead dev to kind of take over the technical side of things. So once that happens, I do expect to see more documentation, more examples of how to use Icon in a technical way. So I think for marketing, things are actually looking pretty good. Stephen Chow says, or Stephen Chu says, will Bithumb become a P rep? I have no idea. I sort of hope they don't, or if they do, I also hope that they will stake their tokens across multiple teams in the network. It's amazing to me how many investors overlook ICX. Well, I think that's because most people in crypto aren't investors. They're just trying to chase the latest gains, trying to chase the latest hype, instead of actually doing their research. They're basically just following their favorite crypto influencer on Twitter. And actually, many of those people probably also have no idea what they're talking about. So that's probably why a lot of people overlook ICX. What is your conservative ICX price prediction? By mid 2021, end of June? I have no idea. I don't like to do price predictions because then people are going to accuse me of, something. I have no idea what, but they're gonna accuse me of something. So I think mid 2021, end of June. I think it'll be higher than it is now, but I have no idea what it will be. Stephen Chu says, but I think that they will just purchase ICX and will then stake it, getting millions of circulating supply. I'm actually not sure how the exchanges do this. I don't think they're going to purchase the ICX. They probably stake the ICX for their customers who are depositing it to the platform. I don't think, for example, Binance bought 8 million ICX just to stake. It strikes me that what actually happened was most of those tokens are probably from their customers. So we'll see. Andrew Hong says, what does this mean for Icon's development if ICX is being staked on larger exchanges? Example is Binance being a P rep is a good thing. Well, I actually think there's two things going on here, because just because you're a P rep doesn't mean that you have to stake everything to yourself, right? So, but that's what Binance is doing. And that's what I think most exchanges are going to do if they became a P rep, because financially it makes sense for them. And they probably care about their self-interest more than the potential growth of the Icon project. And I think that's safe to say, especially for an exchange like Binance, because like I mentioned in my post a few days ago, Binance also has their own stuff going on. They have the Binance Smart Chain, they have the Binance Chain, which are actually two different things. They should probably think about the branding of that. But they have their own projects, and especially the Smart Chain actually is a smart contract platform that is in the same area as Icon and other smart contract platforms. So Binance will always look out for themselves first, which sort of means that certainly they can support Icon, and they really do support Icon because Binance provides the most liquid market for the Icon token. But at the same time, I don't see them really contributing much as a P rep specifically in order to grow the use cases for Icon specifically, because they're always going to go and grow the use cases, the business opportunities for their own Binance Smart Chain first. So what does it mean for Icon's development if ICX is being staked on larger exchanges? It really depends on what these large exchanges do, right? If they have an interface that actually allows you to select the teams you want to vote for, like within the Binance or like the Bithumb dashboard, I'd be all for that because that really does help move the votes around to different teams that really need it. Binance certainly does not need 3 million votes, right? That 3 million votes can go to a lot more teams that are actually building exclusively and building actively on the Icon network. So, is Binance becoming a P-rep is a good thing? The answer is like yes and no. And the reason is just like what I explained, right? It's good. I guess it's good that we have an entity as a node that is a recognized brand in the space. But at the same time, they're not doing much for the decentralization of votes. So the answer is it really depends on what the exchanges are doing specifically to vote. Stephen Chu, I think with the decreasing amount of the IREP should also increase the amount of main P-reps. So I know that there's been talk in Icon 2.0 that sub P-reps will also be able to partake in block production. I think it'll be some sort of rotating system. So that's not exactly increasing the amount of main P-reps, but it's certainly a way to involve more of the sub P-reps into the block production process. And we have to remember that if we were to increase the amount of main P-reps, which means that more main P-reps would need to form the consensus in order for a block to be created, that's actually more gossip that has to take place between all of the P-reps, which could potentially slow down the block time. So that's something that would have to be discussed and talked about, because it's not really just let's increase the number of main P-reps and nothing will happen on the network. That's not the case at all. So the more teams that have to form the consensus, right, the more time it's going to take for all of that gossip within the network to happen. So I think that's probably something that the team is thinking about. They've talked about it before, but I think it really needs we need to kind of think about if it's worth it, because right now with 22 main P-reps, it's already quite decentralized, especially for a use case like icons, where it was really, when it was first created, it was a solution to connect private chains for enterprises. So it's not something like Bitcoin. So we have to gauge the level of decentralization for the intended use case, because we can go more decentralized at the cost of the performance of the block time. So we have to think if it's more important for the use case to have a really fast block time, or is it more important for the use case to be more decentralized. So I think right now 22 main P-reps is a good place, and with Icon 2.0 and the sub P-rep kind of coming in sometimes to do the block production, that's going to help out a bit. Yeah, so Andrew says, guess we just need to wait and see how these larger exchanges proceed. Hopefully they will let stakers on their platform to vote for who they want. Yeah, that'd be nice to see. I don't think it's going to happen, just because Binance has staking for quite a number of networks, and I believe on none of those networks they allow people to choose which team to delegate to. So I don't see that changing with Icon, and that's just because they're not really incentivized to go forward with that. All right, so I am going to head off. But before I do that, I want you guys to know that I uploaded a video today on the Rhizome YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and look at it. This one here, how to stake ICX and compound earnings with IconFi. So if you haven't seen the video yet, please check it out and learn more about what IconFi is, because I think it's actually, and I'll do another live stream just talking about IconFi, but I really think it's huge, and it's actually something that I haven't seen any other blockchain project do, because and there are certainly companies that offer this kind of service, like BlockFi is one example. And then I think there's also Celsius Network, but Icon was kind of smart, kind of started as a smart contract platform, also trying to connect blockchains. So this, I won't call it a pivot, but this augmentation is so the augmentation is kind of interesting because like no other really smart contract platform has this kind of app out there that you can use to lend and to stake and all of those things. So I think it's huge because it's really accessible to the mainstream. And that's really important. And the main reason behind that is that it actually doesn't require people to keep their own keys, which if you're a crypto enthusiast, you might feel like that's stupid, but in reality, there's a lot of people who don't want to keep their own keys, and it's probably safer for them to give that responsibility to someone else than do it themselves, And if we want crypto to go mainstream, these things have to exist. There will never be a world where everyone keeps their own, a piece of paper with their 24 words to restore their funds. Like that's just not going to happen. So stuff like IconFi is awesome. Clip King says staking is not compound interest, though. It's a different concept. Staking is certainly not compound interest, but the fact that staking through IconFi will compound your rewards back and restake within the app every 24 hours without you having to do anything, that is sort of the definition of compounding your reward back into the initial capital in order to earn more over time. So if you look into IconFi, you'll understand what I mean by the compound side of things. So certainly if you deposit Bitcoin, Ether, USDC, USDT, they do the lending out for you, and then it compounds every 4 hours. So that's more of the traditional sense of compounding, but their implementation of staking the Icon token is also compounding. So that's a long way of saying that, yes, staking is not traditionally compounding if you're doing it all by yourself and if you're not putting those rewards back into the capital, but IconFi actually does that for you. So it's compounding the staking rewards for you. All right, so be sure to check out this video. I'm going to do another set of live streams this weekend on Saturday. There's one at 3 p.m. Eastern time. There's another one at 4 p.m. And the 3 p.m. one will actually be on Instagram Live. I'm partnering up with Drew Ford from the new PREP team Tempo. So that's a PREP team that's focused on building blockchain products that are targeted towards people in music and different kinds of people in the arts. So that's, I think the general entertainment industry is is sort of an industry that is filled with archaic gatekeepers, filled with people in the middle telling you what you can and can't do. And there's a lot of archaic processes that are still done on paper with regard to contracts and rights to certain things and stuff like that. So there's actually a lot of stuff in the entertainment world that I think can benefit uh, from uh, from blockchain. So Tempo is looking into that kind of stuff. They're focusing on the music side of things first, because their team is primarily made up of musicians that are also really talented business people as well. So we're going to be doing a live stream at 3 p.m. on Saturday, this coming Saturday, so 2 days from now, 3 p.m. on Instagram Live. So if you follow me on Instagram.com/BWHLI, that's BWHLI, same as my Twitter handle, you'll be able to watch us talk about blockchain with um, Drew Ford's Instagram followers. So most of the Instagram people that follow him are people in music, are people in the arts. So we're actually going to be talking about different ways to leverage crypto in order to manage your finances as an artist. You know, there's many artists who really need the extra money. You know, they first of all, I feel like people in the arts aren't paid enough. I used to work in the arts as well. I once did a gig on Broadway, you know, so it's like the top of the top. And after I calculated my hourly rate out, I realized I was working for like $5 an hour on a Broadway show. So I was like, what the heck? So there's certainly many people in the arts who I think would benefit from knowing about all of these different products that are now being built on crypto. You know, certainly we're not going to shill them some tokens, but what we might do is, you know, look at this new app called IconFi. You know, you can actually convert some of the money in your bank to a stablecoin that's fully backed by the dollar, and you can transfer it over to IconFi and start earning 8 to 10% per year of interest. So, you know, stuff like that I think is very important for people to know, because we've just all been brainwashed, right? We've been brainwashed since we were young that if you put all of your money in your savings account, you'll be like set up for success. And that could not be further from the truth, you know, because most of these accounts that people put their money in, they're earning 0.01% of interest each year, 0.01%. And you have these high yield accounts from American Express and these other banks, they call it high yield accounts. They're paying out 0.5%. So the thing is, like, people see the number go up in their bank account at the end of the year, right? They put it in their high yield account for 0.5%. At the end of the year, they see a few extra bucks in their account and they're like, oh, you know, that's free money. That's nice. What they don't know is that the economy is inflating at a faster rate, right? So even if you have 0.5% extra money, like if the economy is inflating at a faster rate than that, and if you look at the numbers, that's been the case for almost like 8 out of 10 years of the past decade. So uh, so if you keep your money in a account that's paying out 0.5%, the economy is inflating at 2%. Yeah, the number goes up in your account, but the purchasing power that you have goes down. And a lot of people actually don't know that. So with all of these products that are taking the gatekeepers out, it allows you to lend directly to the people who need it instead of having the bank do it for you. You know, certainly the banks are making much more than 0.01% with your money. So that's cool. Uh, So we'll be talking about IconFi and how to leverage that in order to, earn a bit more on your savings. I don't see it as something where you move all of your cash over, right? Because crypto itself, the industry in general, is still quite speculative. But maybe you move 10 or 15% over. And on that 10, 15%, you earn, 8 to 10% a year. And you do the math out, maybe you can keep up with the rate of inflation rather than lose out and see your purchasing power go down the drain. Andrew Hong says NFT. Yes, they are actually working on something like that. We can't talk about what it is yet. I'm helping them with some of the more technical side of things and trying to help them find the necessary technology people to make it happen. So there is stuff being done in the NFT world with Tempo. And you also said, also, would IconFi be safe for larger amounts of money? You should go check out this series of tweets from Min Kim. He talked about IconFi the other day in terms of the security side of things. It was also approved by some high up government agency in South Korea with regard to the quality of the app in terms of the security of the custody and stuff along those lines. So that'd be something to check out. I don't have the exact link to the tweet, but if you go through Min's timeline, or maybe if you ask in one of the Icon groups, I'm sure someone can provide a link to it. Is IconFi insured? I am not sure if IconFi is insured. I'd recommend checking the Telegram channel. That's actually a great question because I actually haven't had a reason to look into that yet, just because, I don't have a lot of stuff on there at this time. So perhaps maybe if I were going to add more stuff on there, then I would look into whether it is insured or not. All right. So please join us for the live stream at 3 p.m. on Saturday on Instagram Live. You can find me on Instagram. My username is BWHLI. And that's going to go for 1 hour. And then 1 hour after that, we'll be doing another live stream on YouTube. That's going to be more of an intro into what Tempo is doing, with regard to their plans, the products that they're trying to build, their backgrounds, and stuff along those lines. So yeah, 2 live streams coming on Saturday. Please go ahead and join them. And thanks for attending this one. I actually assumed that no one was going to join because it's kind of, I didn't really schedule it or announce it before. So I'm glad that there were some people here. It was fun talking about the news that came out the last few days. So see you this weekend, and thanks for joining the stream.